Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 106, where we not only give you the recipe, we give you the entire cookbook on this show. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, and I am honored to spend the next 90 minutes next to the 2018 number one real estate draft pick, Jamil Damji, and in about 5 minutes, the 2019 number one real estate draft pick, Pace Morby.
How
Jamil,
are you, bro?
I am great. I am absolutely thrilled to be on here. I'm excited for Pace to pop in here. We've got the comments on here bigger so that
I don't have to squint.
So that Jamil doesn't have to squint anymore, and we're really, really excited.
And also, if you guys noticed, they moved the microphone a little lower because I got my crouch.
Yeah.
So like Jamil likes to crouch.
He gets in his focused state of mind.
Yes.
You like the little crouch. Let me tell you this. Let me start with this quote here. Fantastic book. You know, I'm always going to come with the quotes and books and the stuff that I'm involved in. And I've gone through this, and I gave it to Pace years ago, and I'm going through it again. This is by Keith Cunningham. Now, what a lot of people don't know about Keith Cunningham is Keith is Rich Dad.
Oh, really?
This is Rich Dad.
That's who wrote it?
No. This is who inspired Kiyosaki. He kind of blended two of his mentors, but this is the real OG investor that he learned from is Keith Cunningham.
So how old is Keith Cunningham then?
Keith Cunningham is that old.
Oh, he looks
70s.
Good. Yeah, he looks good.
Probably 70s.
Okay.
Incredible book. But listen to this, and I love this because this is the show where we encourage, we promote, we prove that squatting up is so powerful in our business. Listen to this. The single best business decision you will ever make is an intentionally work with a peer group on a regular basis to question assumptions, ask hard questions, alert you to icebergs, raise the bar, and push and hold you accountable.
There's so much in there, dude.
Squat up.
So much in there.
That's it. And he says this is the guy. I mean, this guy is wildly successful,
right?
Wildly successful. The single best business decision you will ever make is to intentionally work with a peer group. I mean, intentionally.
So I hope you guys understand what he means by that is that your peer group, many of whom are in the chat right now, here, the people that are as crazy as you are, that care about wholesale real estate as a business model or a way of life. The little niche of interesting real estate that we do is so binding as a community that I've never seen anything like it before. It's almost we're wholesalers are as crazy as CrossFitters.
We might be.
Legit. You talk to a CrossFitter 5 minutes into a conversation, they're like,
yeah.
You're like, what's happening? What are you doing? CrossFit. Why? Oh, I didn't tell you I CrossFit. Oh, that's a great segue into that conversation. You just do, standing and doing lunges or whatever the hell that was, a bar, thing, exercise. But wholesalers are the same way.
Yeah.
Because we'll have a conversation with someone, and 5 minutes into our conversation, we can't get into it. We can't stop talking about what business we're in, how excited we are to be in this business, and why it's changing our life, and why we are still just completely shocked that more people aren't in this.
Yeah, and it's very similar. People are like, oh, CrossFit's going to ruin your body and it's bad for you and you can't do it. It's going to, break you in half. People still love doing it. Oh, you can't do wholesaling. It's illegal. You can't go out there and just find discounted properties every single day. There's no inventory. That's all. Yeah, good luck finding that. Once out of 10 years, you're going to find a decent deal when we do it every single day.
I want to talk
every single day.
Every single day. I wanted to quickly talk about this story of no inventory.
Right.
Because it's interesting.
Yeah, go for it.
So as you guys know, at Keegley, we run a very lean operation, no marketing. We don't buy lists. We don't do any of that. The majority of our deals, if not all of our deals, come from real estate agent referrals and other wholesalers who we help dispo their deals. Now, I got asked the question, Jamel, how have your leads been since, inventory is so low? There's no houses out there. There's no houses out there. There's no houses out there. Guys, that's retail product. Retail product is unavailable right now. Right. Okay. What do I mean by retail product? Fully renovated, completely financeable, FHA approved, VA approved, conventional loan approved, 2% down loan approved. Retail house is not available because that is the property that investors like your iBuyers and the hedge funds, as well as your primary home buyers who are your firemen and your school teachers, they're all going after the same property type. Okay. But there are still 15 million vacant pieces of crap out there. And that inventory isn't going anywhere because it's still just us.
That's it.
The reason why you think there's no inventory is because the story you're being told by the people you're talking to is there's no inventory and they're focusing on the wrong thing.
That's it.
Back in the day when we were talking to real estate agents, they would say to us, why wouldn't I just keep that for myself? Today, there's no inventory. Listen, the story will always be the story. If you continuously reach out, follow up, have the conversation, pop up like whack-a-mole in front of that real estate agent or in front of that wholesaler or in front of that seller, whoever it is or whatever your marketing channel might be, you will succeed at this game.
That's it. That's it. It's being proactive every single day, not letting the pessimism of rejection pull you down and stop you from achieving the financial goals that you want. I mean, that's the basics of it. You don't just day one just already have the value built into you. You have to do things. You have to grow. You have to get the experience. You have to take the reps so that you feel more comfortable. Right. And if you want to make that happen faster, squat up with somebody that's already a few months ahead of you, right. A few years ahead of you,
right.
2 decades ahead of you, 1,000 deals ahead of you. I mean, that's what we're talking about when it comes to getting together with a peer group that you choose and really connecting and really being involved and really getting that confidence and that optimism that you need.
I want to share a success story between a TTP student and a sub 2 student.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
I love it. So
Tristan Trenberth. For those of you who aren't familiar with him, he's a beautiful man, lives here in Phoenix, Arizona. He did,
and he's here. Right on time. Primal Eskimo was missing you. Come on in. All right.
We got John Lim from the DMV, and we've got Kevin Cho
from. What's up, guys?
He moved from Vegas, and then he came down to Phoenix. He just moved here from Phoenix.
Welcome, guys. All right, that's awesome. Don't worry, we'll turn the camera on you soon. Here you go.
I was sharing a little win with the Wholesale Hotline audience. How a sub 2 student and a TTP student got together and did a deal. So I was mentioning Tristan Trenberth, who met somebody in this chat.
No.
Right here.
No.
Okay, someone in this chat, a TTP student, who together they were able to solve a seller's problem, do a deal, took some time. It was a subtail.
Christian right there.
And guess what the wire is?
$108,000.
$108,594. Get the frick out of here, dollars.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the power, you guys. If you're not squatting up in these comments, if you are not connecting with each other, if you're not cross-pollinating and mingling, you're missing the point.
Yep.
It looks
I love
good.
it. By the way, Pace.
It looks good.
Pace, I've got Matt will post it, but I have Tyler Crockett out of Flint, Michigan. He's got a sub-2 laydown deal.
Let me have
He
it.
wants to stay focused on wholesaling right now. And you want his email?
Yeah, can we just call the seller and lock it up right now? Like, what's up? I'm in the mood. I just locked up an 18-plex seller finance.
I think it's
0%.
already it's pretty much. You want to hear the details on it?
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty much
what city
there.
Is it?
It's in Flint, Michigan. It might be a little bit lower of a price, but it's like a $35,000 property.
Primal Eskimo says Pace and Jerry met in a mastermind, right? Yes, actually, we met in the Go Giver Mastermind. The Go Giver Mastermind, which
Primal Eskimo has changed his name from Russian Eskimo to Primal Eskimo. I like the name change.
Good move.
There you go.
Smart move. Have either one of you guys done deals with Astro flipping or TTP students?
Not yet.
Not yet. How do we fix that? What are you focusing on? You're focusing on mobile home parks right now, right, John?
Yeah. Strictly mobile home parks. Mainly.
Okay, so John Lim, guys,
there they are
in the DMV. John Lim over to the right. I want you guys give everybody your phone number, John.
He's like, I ain't saying nothing.
If you guys have a mobile home park that you need underwritten or looked at, John Lim and his partner Jacques are also buying a ton of Airbnbs right now.
Yes.
So reach out to John Lim, do a deal with him. If you're a TTP or Astro student and you have a mobile home park, John is partnering with people at a very, very high level. In fact, Brandon Turner from Bigger Pockets, some people that are attached to him are funding some of John Lim's mobile home parks. So he's got a lot of money behind him.
Yep.
A lot of money behind him.
Let's get into that in a second. Real quick. Will you put that info up again? Somebody reach out, whether it be your team or somebody else, get that sub-2 wrapped up for him. That's Tyler Crockett, guys. Every sub-2 guy, it's in the chat here in the comments. His email is there. Reach out to him right now and get that coordinated. All right, good. So you're buying mobile homes, mobile home
parks.
Communities.
Yep.
Okay.
Entire parks.
And where are you finding them?
We scrape data just off websites,
sure,
off all the major websites, and basically we hired a full-time data girl lady, and she basically goes and does all the searching for the LLCs, all the information for private owners and everything. So
yeah.
So we have someone fully on staff on payroll to do that.
So you look for things that are owned by smaller companies versus big.
Yeah, like typically, so the list is basically just telling you everywhere there is a park or a campground, and then after that we go find the owners. If it's an LLC, then we try to find if it's a bigger LLC, because like the top 50 companies that own like all the bigger stuff,
right?
They're not selling to guys like us, right? So the mom and pop retirees, the smaller hedge funds that kind of are like, hey, let's trade parks so we can do 1031s. Those guys. They reach out to us and say, hey, do you have a buyer for this?
This is interesting. Okay, so I locked up a deal today, and I'm talking to the seller. It's a seller finance multifamily deal, 18 units. Okay, and I'm talking to the seller, and I go, so tell me, what is your 5-year plan? Because she literally tells me when she gets on the phone with me, she goes, you've never heard this before, I'm sure, Brent. Seller goes, I'm not distressed.
Yeah, no, never heard that.
Right.
Yeah.
So this seller says, I'm not distressed.
I don't need to sell it.
I'm not one of these foreclosure people. I have no pain.
You called me.
You're right. You called me, all that kind of stuff. I go, okay, well, what sounds like you're a pretty savvy investor. She goes, yeah, I am. I own multifamily. I'm building a 48-plex right now, or 48 unit project. I go, great. What is your investment strategy over the next 5 years? Right? Shift the conversation. You're going to be running into that on mobile home park owners as well, because they want to 1031 into something bigger or maybe in a different market or whatever. So she says, I need to sell this 18 unit so I can get the money from this 18 unit to go build another project.
Got it.
And I go, okay, so how do I just raise money for your other project so you don't need the money from this one and I just buy that one on seller finance? She's like, you can do that? So it gets crazy, like what you can do, but you have to start asking different questions when you talk to savvy real estate investors like mobile home park owners. Yep. You need to learn what a 1031 exchange is, guys. A lot of these owners are needing to sell their properties, not because they have pain, but because they're actually trying to upgrade their portfolio into something bigger.
Love it. Yep.
And a 1031 exchange, basically they just roll into something else and they let you buy the property, right?
Yep.
Cool. Different questions for different deals for sure.
I love it. The money is in the follow-up, Vincent. I love that. You better believe it. And that's an interesting, people have to tell themselves that all the time because it's like that middle part, right? Pace, the conversion part. You can find leads. Yeah, no problem. I'll find leads. But that follow-up part, that's where you really get your heart broken, right? Because they could say no. They could say, oh, I'm going to keep it. There could be the hottest lead ever. And in your mind, you have got all of the good chemicals flowing, right? Everything is feeling unbelievable. You're like, oh, finally, I talked to the most unbelievable opportunity here. And then poof, it evaporates. And then you're crestfallen, heartbroken.
You're one of the most experienced influencers that I know in real estate, which means you probably have a lot of names for things that people run into. And one of those things is like they hold on to a lead, hoping that it, like in the back of their mind, they like tuck it underneath their pillow, like it's a tooth and the tooth fairy's going to come or something. I don't know what the hell is going on there, but it's like, if I call the seller, the deal's going to fall apart.
Right.
I'd rather just not call the seller in the hopes that the deal
be heartbroken.
Is there like a phenomena or something like that this is called?
Well, I think it's just, you don't want rejection.
Is that it?
It's 100%. It's just running away from rejection, right? Because if you know that if you call the seller, there's a good chance that you're going to get the answer you don't want, you're not going to call. It's funny. We all can probably relate back in middle school, maybe in high school, when we were dating, right?
Sure.
And I don't know if Pace, you're such a strapping guy, and I doubt you got dumped. I got dumped a lot. Okay?
Oh yeah.
Every time you went to where?
Well, I got dumped in after Cabo all the time. I would take girlfriends to Cabo, come back, and they dump me. But that was like a three time never going to Cabo thing.
No.
But yes, here's the thing, right? And so I could tell that it was coming. I knew you always know when things are not going well, right? But then I would do dumb stuff like I wouldn't go to school. I'd fake sick, be like just to prolong this dumping because I just didn't want to. Yeah, I didn't want to have my heart broken, right? And so I think that's just mechanically hardwired into human beings.
Yes,
because we're so our egos are so fragile that until we shatter them completely and realize that we're just like gross pieces of shit, and then build from there, right?
Yeah.
Build from there. That's when we can like really just come to terms with, okay, I'm a person and I fart and I suck and some don't like me and some love me and all the things. But like, you got to come to terms with who you are, love yourself, and then you can get rejected. But most of the people that are on there right now that don't want to get rejected, it's like they're still having problems with their self-worth.
Yes.
And because they're still having problems with their self-worth, they can't take that conversation that says, no, I've sold to somebody else. I sold to Pace Morby.
Well, we have something in our brains that we do not want to get kicked out of the tribe. We don't want to get kicked out of whatever tribe that is, whether that's family, whether that's a neighborhood, whether that be your friend group, whether that be just the people that you're the most you're closely connected to. You don't want to get kicked out of that group, and some of that bleeds into, as we're getting started and we're not used to a lot of rejection, a lot of that bleeds into the way that we run our business because we're worried that rejection is going to be really, really, really harsh. But then you get enough reps at it and you get better at it. You really do. You understand that you're getting rejected from strangers that don't really have a huge influence in your life. It's much harder if you get rejected by your actual family.
Even when you're getting rejected by actual people that have a difference in your life, if you like dissect a lot of the reasons why the rejection's happening, you'll come to learn that often it has zero to do with you.
Sure.
It's always the person.
Yeah, it always is.
I want to celebrate real quick.
If you guys break down, the word fears, right? You guys remember Robert G. Allen coming in and doing this Zoom with us. If you break down the word fears into an acronym, it stands for fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, and fear of success. So if I'm not following up with my leads, Jamil, is it a fear of rejection or a fear of success, or is it a fear of both?
I think it's a fear of both.
Okay.
I think it's a fear of both. I think that it could be leaning towards one or the other, because the person might have caught an inkling off the tone from the last call they had. For instance, I was chasing this guy, Scott Osland, Okay, I'll never forget.
I've
this
never
lead's name.
heard. This is a story. This is a Jamil story I've never heard before. Let's get ready.
I was chasing a lead. Look, bro, this cocksucker's still in my phone from all these years. Okay, look, I can't make this stuff up. Scott Osland. Look, I have him. I have his partners. I called this dude for like
guys, literally, like I'm looking at this list of Scott Osland and the people that are attached to him.
What are you chasing him for?
There's
a bulk sale.
There's a dozen people attached to the Scott Osland guy that Jamil was hammering with exclamation points and says bulk seller, like all these leads or all these different people. You must have been not just calling this guy, but like
all his assistant, his partner,
his cousins,
everybody, but they all knew me.
His neighbor.
And 18 months I followed up. 18 months, and then and every day, every week I follow up. I followed up with him religiously. He was in my phone to call every Sunday afternoon. He only wanted to hear from me on Sunday afternoon. Every Sunday afternoon I called Scott. Every Sunday afternoon, he told me, call me next week.
No way.
For 18 months. And then the last time I called him, I heard it in his voice. He was seeing somebody else. He was talking to somebody else. I heard it in his voice. I could smell it. I could tell it. And guess what? We were at the Go Giver Mastermind in that meetup. And I sit across the table from the person who he's talking to. Yes,
really?
Andrew LeBaron.
Oh yeah, okay.
This is the big. This is that big bulk deal that blew up all Arizona over months and months and months.
I remember this.
You know the end of that story.
I know the end. I still got the deal.
I know. I remember. I was just gonna say. Now I remember this.
I still got the deal.
All right, break it down for everybody here. How did you get this deal?
So,
first of all,
I chased. I'll be careful.
Yeah.
I chased it for. I chased it for.
He has to be. This deal went nasty.
Nasty.
There's a lot of people that got into a lot of shit.
I talk about this deal a lot with my students that run into bulk packages.
Yes.
Because this is a word of warning. Whenever you're running in, you talk to somebody that owns 18, 20, 50 properties and they want to sell them all at the same time. If you don't get every single property under a good deal, every single one of them have to be a discounted good deal or this happens. Go ahead.
So what happens is I give my price. My price was, I think, $4.9 or $4.8 million for the whole package. For the total package.
How many houses?
60 houses, I think it was.
Beautiful.
And it was a good number. It was a really good number at the time, in the time. And so when I reached back out and I heard it in his voice, I reached back out to him the next week and he starts saying to me, I'm entertaining another offer and I have somebody right now at 5.5. And I said, Scott, I resent that you're talking to somebody else right now because I've been following up with you for 18 months. Every fucking Sunday, excuse my language, every Sunday. I've called you every Sunday. And you're telling me I got a bid. So I said, I'm out. I'm not buying. So the guy who put in the $5.5 million offer goes in with a $250,000 non-refundable earnest deposit.
No,
non-refundable earnest deposit, $250K, $250,000, which he gets from his business partner, his mom, and his business partner's uncle or dad. Okay.
Yep.
Then
this deal did not go well.
Then the people who he got the earnest deposit from start realizing that he's going to have a hard time closing these because he's not the wholesaler that he wants to be, and he's unable to sell these properties. I knew you had to close that deal and then sell them off individual if this was going to actually happen.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
But he's trying to wholesale and simultaneously close this and so what happens when you're in a spot and you need a buyer for a deal and your 60 property bulk package only has 18 contracts and now you need the other 42 houses sold? Who do you call? Keegley.
Jamil.
Keegley.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So yes, we got the deal done. Yes, we made quite a bit of money. However, the wholesaler ended up losing the $250K earnest deposit, and they had to file bankruptcy. They had to sell all their personal assets to make the shortfall from contract price to what we actually were able to sell at.
Let me ask you this, because we have a lot of really big thinkers on the show. I'd like to think that we think really big. What happens? What do you think happens when you have an opportunity to do a big deal like this? You see that there's opportunity there. How do you make sure that you're not what Keith Cunningham talks about here, paying the stupid tax? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you do? What are the safeguards? Making sure that they're all good deals.
Yeah,
Making sure that you've got some outs, some backup. Like, how do you not let your big, your big thoughts and your big dreams and your big goals not like run loose and stop you from paying the stupid tax?
Well, here's another piece that I didn't mention in the story. That another one of the larger buyers in Phoenix at the time, Jared Vidalis, was also another person this guy was talking to. So me, Jared, and the other wholesaler who ended up getting the deal are all sitting at the Go Giver Mastermind, and we're all sitting at the same table. Jared Vidalis and I decide, let's go in on this together. Let's squat up and let's hold fast at a number. In fact, why don't you do this? You go into the number we're actually going to buy it at. I'm going to undercut. We'll do this, and we'll just make sure we get this thing at 4.9.
Right.
Jared Vidalis wants to play ball, but the other wholesaler didn't.
Got it. Yep.
It was not squatting up that ultimately caused the demise of that situation.
Right.
This was a deal in Arizona for you guys that made a ripple effect through the entire community. It was talked about for nearly a year. It ruined a lot of people's relationships. It ruined a handful of people's businesses.
Yeah.
One, because this guy overcommitted at an incorrect price. Two, he borrowed money from people and made it hard earnest. And three, most importantly, he wasn't willing to squat up when he really needed to. And it took him years to recover and rebuild.
Just recently, I've seen him crawl out.
Yeah,
recently of the situation.
What was that? 5 years ago? Something like that?
5 years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Stephanie Tristan says, usually Pace is salty, but I guess it's Jamil.
I don't know. My cuss filter, like I left it somewhere. I got it back. I'm fine. Guys.
I usually don't get salty on Wholesale Hotline. I get very salty on Sunday Service because it's just my show and I can go off for like 7 minutes. I had this show a couple of weeks ago where I'm sitting there pulling a list for people, and I spent like $3,000 on this list. And as I'm waiting for it to get skip traced and going through the system, we're just chopping it up, answering questions in side chat. And this guy comes in, he goes, hey, is there any way we can get back to just being constructive or doing something constructive in this podcast? And I'm like, I am constructively spending my own money from my constructive own pocket to constructively give you a list for free constructively. And I got really salty. And so now I've made a name for myself. And I'm very sorry, Stephanie, that that's your perception of me. I will do my best to be better. Thank you. Ooh.
Sometimes salt is the only way.
Yes.
I guys, I'm working on it. I apologize.
A lot of good questions here. Jamil and I are speaking at an event, a Vegas event, the Clever Summit. She says, what can we expect at the summit event in Vegas coming in April? Well, a couple of things. First and foremost, Sub 2 is going to have a big party with Astro. If you're a TTP member and Astro student, we're going to have a big party at a park.
Awesome.
It's going to be my wife's birthday party. We're going to have taco trucks out. It's going to be dope. My wife's birthday is on the 22nd. Jamil and I are speaking on the 23rd. We're going to have a great weekend out of it. A&E currently is reaching out to us, seeing if they can come up and film you and I. So the TV show might end up, this little excerpt of the Clever Summit might end up being on season 2 of Triple Digit Flip, which would be cool. But it's
Have you ever done that?
No.
Yeah. They did it from my mastermind, and they're going to put that in season 2 or season 3. I can't remember. Right. Jamil speaking at my mastermind. It was great. The other thing you can expect is 3 days of amazing networking and amazing education and being around the right people. I can tell you one of the speakers that is, I just found out they confirmed, is the most, not one of the most, they are the most prolific person in real estate ever.
And I know we can't name names, but hints are okay?
No hints.
How about breadcrumbs?
I wouldn't leave any of that. I think that the contract is still being settled.
Oh.
So really, really epic stuff. And yes, it is Jamil Damji. Yes, yeah. Jamil Damji has been secured. His speaking fee has been wired. He is committed.
Actually, if we're going to be honest, the person that would really be the rare, okay, you guys, I feel like you find me everywhere. And we're on if you just like find a stage right now in your local neighborhood, in your local city, we're there.
Go down to like the
Yeah.
what do you call those comedy things?
Yeah, we're speaking at a meetup right now at your city. These are holograms. But the real rarity would be this guy.
Yeah. I was supposed to. I've got a trip to Disneyland this weekend.
Because lifestyle, guys. This is the thing that this business can afford you, is that Brent Daniels tells us no more than he ever says yes.
It's true.
He won't, and he will never, ever, ever forego what he's got planned for his family, the lifestyle that he's made for himself, because he's committed to that. He's committed to it, and he has enough money every month from his wholesale business, from his coaching business, from the things that he's doing in life, his fix and flips, his private money lending. I could probably go on and on and on. There's still more there that he doesn't tell me he does, but Brent is a very successful person, and he's not really trying to be everywhere, you know?
I love it. Travel's just tough on the family.
Yeah, we respect it. We respect it. Well, we'll get you out there one day, bro.
We're in a season right now. That's it.
Yep.
I liked going out there. I love traveling. I loved going to all of the incredible RIAs and the different stages and the different cities. Incredible people every time. Incredible people putting them on. Someday it'll come back.
I like how you're saying it's a season.
Yeah.
Isaiah, getting to the Q&A tonight, guys. Good to see everybody in here.
All right, good.
Jamil is salty, but we enjoy him that way.
That's right.
We love him for every little molecule inside of you. We love you. Isaiah, what does a good subtail deal look like? Guys, let's talk about what a subtail deal is. First and foremost, let's spell it correctly so we all know. Same thing. Subtail comes from the word retail, subject to turning it into a retail deal. So retail is spelled R-E-T-A-I-L. So it is subtail, T-A-I-L, subject to taking it retail. A subject to deal means I can buy somebody's property without paying off the house. Pretty cool, right? I can take over the existing payments. And while I'm renovating a property, I don't have to go get hard money. A lot of times I don't even have to get private money, depending on how I structure the deal. I then make those monthly mortgage payments for 3 or 4 months while I renovate the house and then throw it on the retail market. So here's what a good subtail deal looks like. The same thing that a fix and flip looks like. You want to make sure that you are making, my goal, Jamil, you might have a little bit different goal, but on fix and flips, I'm always looking to make 10% of the sales price. So if I sell a property for, like right now, we've got a house on Diamond in Scottsdale. Sales price is $710,000. We are under contract. So by that measurement, Jamil, how much do I want to net in my pocket on that deal?
$71,000.
$71,000. However, we're making about $120,000 net. So I'm making over my 10% goal, right? So net, that's net, by the way, not gross. That's net. After I pay my contractors, my hard money costs, everything. I want to make 10% on my fix and flip. That's my goal. Now, there's a lot of fix and flippers that won't waste their time for anything less than 20%, but I'm one of the more aggressive types. We do more than one flip at a time. So it's the same thing. If I can get a subject to deal under contract and I can go and fix and flip it and still make my 10% net after all my payments, all my closing costs, all of that kind of stuff, then boom. Now, an easier way to do a subtail is actually not do a subtail, but do a novation agreement instead. And in 2 weeks, I'll be teaching you guys what novation agreements are on Sunday service. So stay tuned for that. But a sub-2 deal.
Yeah, let's get that.
Is there another one?
No, I like that CEO for Jamil here.
Okay, cool. So a subtail deal, guys, as long as I can make 10% as the buyer on a subtail deal, I will buy that deal.
Awesome.
So real quick question here though, Pace. On a subtail deal, would it be better if it required? Would this be more of a because wholetailing is when you just buy it, don't fix it, and you just put it on the MLS and sell it, right? Could you do that with a sub-2 where you just take the title, don't fix it, but put it on the MLS and sell it? And would it not work because typically when people sell subject to, they're selling for a higher price, so new equity needs to be realized through a renovation? Is that why you have to renovate those rather than just list them?
So wholesale is an interesting thing because I see guys like Donovan Ruffin actually close on properties in Texas. Yeah. Right. So he'll buy the deal and throw it onto the retail. Right. So he's essentially not even wholesaling. He's taking it down immediately. He's flipping. Right. He's technically flipping, but he calls it wholesaling. in a wholesale that you're talking about, Jamil, is you're saying I get a house under contract wholesale, and instead of me going and closing on it and getting hard money, I'm just taking that wholesale contract and throwing it on the MLS and selling it. Correct?
Correct.
Cool. So
or taking it down.
Either
no
way,
renovation.
Okay, so no renovation is a wholesale.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your question? I'm sorry.
With a subtail, does it always require renovation because you have to get new equity in there, or can you just take it subject to and list it on the MLS after taking it down, or
absolutely.
taking title,
Absolutely.
and create the value there for yourself?
Absolutely.
I would assume
Awesome.
even more now in this market where lack of inventory, you put anything on the market, it's going to get bid up.
It gets sold
Even
super
if the same
quick.
house sold same exact price, you put it on for 10,000-15,000 more in this market in certain areas in the country, sold.
Now it depends on who you are, right? So here's the thing: is if I buy a house subject to, what can I do? I can either put it on the MLS and sell it retail, meaning the retail buyer comes in, they bring a new loan to the table, they wipe out the underlying loan, and I keep the difference, right? So that would be a subtail. Now, if you want to make more money, this is where things get creative. I can buy a house subject to, and instead of selling it to a cash buyer, I can seller finance it at a much higher rate. In fact, the mobile home that I bought from you, I bought a mobile home from Brent. I bought it for 65 grand subject to. I sold it for $199,000 on retail. Do you know what it was on Zillow? It was worth maybe 80 grand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally, a cash buyer or a retail buyer would never have bought that over 80 grand. It wouldn't have appraised.
Right.
But I sold it to an end buyer that couldn't get a loan for $199,000, 9% interest. So that is called selling on owner financing, or technically it's called a wrap.
Yep.
So I bought it subject to, I control the house. I then sell it for $199,000. I still have that property. It's on Pueblo. I get a check every single month for like $1,100. And I will get that check for the next 37 years because I sold it on a 40-year loan.
That's a hot wrap.
Love it.
That's a hot wrap.
How many hot wraps you write a year, Pace?
I don't like wraps a lot. And the reason why I don't like wraps is because I like depreciation. So if I bought it subject to and I sell it to you, let's say I sell a house to you on owner finance, right? I buy it subject to from an owner. I now have it under control. I wrap it with a much higher loan, and I give that loan to you on owner finance. I no longer have the tax benefits, right? And so the big thing is, for me, I'll show you guys tonight at my house. I got a tax refund this year, a tax refund. Okay. I paid $0.
Stop. You're just rubbing it in.
I am rubbing it in. I'm taking your faces and I'm rubbing it in. I paid $0 in taxes in 2021, and I got a tax return of like $3,200. Okay. Zero income tax. I paid zero income tax. I got a refund. And the reason for that is because of my depreciation. I actually pay $0 in taxes because of all the properties I own. However, if I'm owner financing it to you, who's the new owner?
Me.
You are.
Yeah.
And so I no longer have the benefits with the IRS.
When you sell it owner finance, does the person who buy it get to depreciate it
Yes.
at like the price you sell it at?
Yep, purchase price.
So like you could sell me your house for $10 million owner finance, and I could write down all my income.
So there comes a point.
Probably wouldn't do that.
You probably wouldn't do that, but you probably wouldn't do that. And the challenge for that is that at some point you do have to sell your property and you have to roll your depreciation into the next deal. So 1031 exchange now we're talking about. So that we call that kicking the can down the road.
Okay.
So you're going to start kicking down, not a can, you're going to be kicking down a barrel of oil down the road. It's going to be a heavy one.
So is depreciation then just a tax Ponzi?
No, not at all.
No?
The government wants you to own property. They do not want to manage property. They do not want to hold
Eventually,
property.
though, they want their tax money.
They want tax money. First they want property taxes on a state level, and then the IRS wants they're fine. They understand that if you're providing housing and if you're providing commercial and you're providing all this stuff, all those people that take advantage of that or live there are paying taxes. They need places for people to live. They do not want to manage it. They look at their balance sheet and they go, oh, well, we can write off this one guy who owns 700 houses while we have 700 people paying the property taxes. It's in our favor.
So there's 3 ways to avoid tax altogether, and we won't get into them, but I'll get into them really, really quickly, okay? And if you're a CPA, feel free to give me a call. I probably know more than you do about this stuff. No problem. No, I'm not. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. I know so much more than the average CPA.
We have a runner in our show that's literally hashtag not a CPA.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You guys, I am not a CPA, but I probably would bet you lunch that I know more than your CPA. Okay, I like that. Put that runner back up there while I say this shit.
Yeah.
So there's 3 things that you can do to avoid taxes. One, you can create a waterfall trust system. So instead of you actually, look at this. John Rockefeller said what? The most famous quote John Rockefeller said was, own nothing, control everything. These rich people don't actually own anything. They don't even own their LLCs. What does own their LLC is a business trust. So their money comes into their LLC. Their LLC sends the distributions to their business trust, and then it goes down to a family trust. Then it goes to there's 4 trusts, and I won't go into all of them. You can essentially erase all of your income through these 4 trusts. The majority of wealthy people, Mitt Romney, Trump, all the people in the White House, Biden, every single person runs their life through a trust. Okay. Every one of these high level people. So that's first and foremost. Second way is most people kind of on the lower end are doing 1031 exchanges, and they kick the can down the road until finally, when they pass away, they distribute their wealth or their assets to their children. And there is a way to distribute those to their children where the children do not inherit the obligation of the 1031 exchange. Okay. So I don't suggest going that route, because at some point you're like, I just want to sell some of my shit. What Robert Kiyosaki does is this. This is how Robert Kiyosaki does it. He just refinances every one of his properties every 5 years. Yep. So he has no equity in anything. And when he does get equity, he goes, oh, there's $20 million over there. Let me pull that out. And then he goes and buys something else. And because it's debt that he's pulling, not income, he doesn't pay any income tax on that. The third way to do it, I almost don't want to go down this road, but the third way to do it is through a charity. And that's what I'm currently doing with.
What about just depreciation?
You could do depreciation, but at some point, when you do depreciation, you do have to pay it back if you don't use 1031, you don't use a trust system, and you don't use a charity. So
depreciation can become tax Ponzi if you don't do it correctly.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing with depreciation can become something that you have to pay back. That is correct.
Awesome. Remember, when negotiating, there is the price, and then there are terms. Pace is the master at terms. Pace loves the terms. Price is too easy for Pace. He would rather go terms and put something together that is that'll win for both parties. I, on the other hand, am all about price, getting these wholesale deals, and I think you're kind of in the middle. I think for the most part, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely on the cash side of things more, but my proximity to Pace has definitely made my mind more malleable.
Sure.
Because I'm seeing, look, he got a tax refund, right? Mm-hmm. I wrote a ridiculous check last year.
Yeah.
Jamil could have paid off my house this year with the taxes he wrote, guys.
And I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
And I found out that I can't even Airbnb my property in Los Angeles, because you can't Airbnb properties in Los Angeles anymore. You need a friggin' license.
You can get a license. Noah will help you out with that. Here's the thing. We do a lot of wholesale. We just did an $81,000 wholesale deal in Globe, Arizona. Freaking Globe, of all places. So we do a lot of wholesale. We're probably doing about 8 to 12 wholesale deals a month. It's just not what I'm hyper passionate about.
Right.
We do wholesale. I would rather, like today, I get a call from a seller, 18plex in Alabama, just north of Birmingham. And the seller says, I want $2 million. I want this, that, and the other. Go, okay, I'll give you $2 million if you'll give me 0% seller finance. And the seller's like, really? Nobody's even been close to my number. Literally, the best number I've gotten was like $1.6 million. And I'm like, I'll buy it for $2 million at 0% seller finance. And we work out a deal. Literally, this happened 4 or 5 hours ago. Okay. She then somebody asked me the question because they heard the call. They go, why would you pay 400 grand more for that apartment complex than a cash buyer would? And I'm like, let's do the math on this. So somebody go to bankrate.com. Okay, go to bankrate.com. Let's go to bankrate.com. Pull it up on the screen. Let's do some math for this. Can you guys do that?
Yeah, he's on there.
Do you have the technology? Okay, let's go to bankrate.com or go to Bankrate mortgage calculator and let's work this out.
Desiree, DM me, please.
Hey, Jamil, can you can use my license? Perfect. Desiree will hook you up. She's brand new. She just found out about us 30 days ago, by the way.
Amazing.
That's the power of networking. You do a podcast, you can then use somebody else's Airbnb license. All right, so love this. Let's go to the purchase price of $2 million or $1.7 million. Guys, this will teach you quite a bit. Okay. So in this situation, if you go to Bankrate, and let's go up to $2 million or 1.7 is the purchase price. Bankrate can't even handle this.
No. Oh, keep going. You got to drag it.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, right there. Leave it right there.
Oh, you can't do that.
Love this. Okay, cool. So we're going to do 1.7 million purchase. So if I'm a cash buyer, I'm going to put 20% down with a lender, 30 years, 4.5% or 4.25%. I would say that interest rate is very, very low. But let's go scroll down.
Are they
just
able to see this, Matt?
Yeah, they're all seen.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, scroll down just a little bit. Go up, and it said there's an amortization button up there right above the graph.
Mm-hmm.
See that little right there? Click on that. How much what will be my total balance over the course of this loan? How much will I total pay? Okay, let's see, where is that? Scroll all the way down.
All the way down.
All the way down, like all the way down.
And then scroll up a little bit. You see it says click expand.
Oh, okay.
Click that and then go all the way down.
There you go. All the way down. 30 years. All the way down. All the way down. There we go. There we go. Now go to the bottom. How much will I pay for this property? I will pay total $2.4 million on this deal. So would I rather buy something for $1.7 million with 4.5% interest, or would I rather pay $2 million at 0% interest? Now, the worst part about a deal where I pay cash and I go get a loan, the worst part is, guess what happens in the first 10 years of that loan?
All interest.
All interest. Average amount of interest I'm paying for the first 10 years of my loan.
Well, you're not paying it.
Well, my tenant is.
There you go.
Okay. My tenant's paying that loan, but the average amount that is going to principal is less than 10%.
Right.
So for 10 years, I'm essentially not paying down anything.
She wants a 10-year balloon?
No, I'm just saying in a normal 30-year amortization schedule, right? Total 30 years. The first 10 years of that curve is majority interest. So for me, guess what happens in my first 10 years of an interest-only deal? It's all principal. So a cash buyer will pay down their 1.7 million purchase, maybe 100 grand in 10 years.
Yep.
I will pay mine down $600,000 in that same 10 years because of the terms that I structured.
Right.
So for me, am I really overpaying for a property? No, I'm actually vastly underpaying for the property because my terms actually got me the lowest price. So if
Over time.
Yeah.
as of
100%.
you make your money on the day you structure the deal, right? So the same thing, if I want to assign that deal to a buyer and I go to an intelligent buyer and I go, I structured this at 0%, I can make it probably 2-3 times my assignment fee with the right term structure. So assigning a seller finance deal at 0%, even though I paid 300 grand over retail, I will make way more money on that assignment fee.
Witchley, yes, all of us.
Yes.
All of us, Witchley, see. Any Scottsdale AZ buyers? Yes.
Reach out, bro.
Yes.
Right now.
Any one of our DMs.
Actually, Jamil has a buyer for this right now. Any Scottsdale AZ buyers, 3 contiguous, 4 plexes, 12 unit for
Jamil
sale.
is a buyer for this.
All day. All day.
There was a question before, getting back to wholesale. Somebody's trying to sell a deal in a smaller market.
Mhm.
Can you give some advice on finding the right buyers for that? Or how do you determine if there is no action in that area? You know what I'm
you
saying?
got to look at the comps.
Right.
You've got to see, and this is one of the questions I get a lot on Straight Outta Compin is, hey, what do I do if there's no comps?
Right.
I say, then you do no deal. You got to go where there's liquidity. I mean, look, the market showing you what's happening in an area based off of what other investors are doing there. And if a market can attract capital, it's because investors see that there's an opportunity there.
Right.
If the market can't attract capital to the market, then their investors are not seeing opportunity there.
Right.
And so oftentimes this happens in rural areas or in really small markets that surround like 1 or 2 hours away from a major metro. And here's the funniest thing I get. And I'm not making fun of you guys when I say this. It's funny. It's only an hour away from Atlanta, or it's only an hour away from Phoenix, or it's only an hour. But
all the time.
Yeah, but here's the thing, guys. We're talking about infrastructure. We're talking about jobs.
Yeah.
We're talking about, just all around population density. If it's too much, if it's an hour drive away, and we're not living in that place and time right now in the world where people are like, okay to drive an hour into the wilderness to go home, right? They still want to go to a subdivision in the suburbs. So that's the reason why those deals are very difficult to dispose or disposition, because there's no liquidity for it. Now, can you attract a 10-year land buyer? 1,000%. Those are the kinds of deals.
What is a 10-year land buyer? What does that mean?
And great question, Pace. So there's people and businesses out there whose entire business cycle or cash flow cycle happens in 10 years. Or 5 years.
Like the Ellsworth family here in Arizona, they'll go out and buy farmland, sit on it. They'll lease the farmland to another farmer, break even on the land for 10 years to do what?
It's land banking. So what their game is they're waiting for the city to expand out towards
path of progress,
that area. And then they will do an annexation, or they will sell it to the township or whatever that is. But that's typically it has to start like this. They wait for it to become a part of the municipality or part of the city that it is neighboring. And then as soon as that happens, that land becomes valid, because it's not until it hits the city limits. So what happens typically is the city will expand their city limits that now incorporates that piece of land. And typically that can take 5 to 10 years, depending on how long the land bank is or how far away it is from a major metro.
So there are buyers out there that will sit on a piece of land, even though they're not looking at the market today. They're looking at like a 10-year, 15-year play.
Correct. But you know what these guys pay?
A lot.
Little.
Yeah, they pay little.
They pay like tenths of a penny on, because it's nothing but debt service for 10 years.
Right.
Right. And these can typically be entire sections of land. If you guys don't know what a section of land is, it's 640 acres.
Somebody said land deals eat 3 meals a day. I thought that was interesting. You know what I mean?
It's a great
all
rhyme.
they do is take, right? All they're doing is eating your
Have you guys ever heard
taxes.
of the olive mill down in Queen Creek?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is a land play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the family bought that land from a farmer, and they go, we're going to sit on this thing for 15, 20 years as the city's expanding into Queen Creek. You know what we should do? Let's grow olive trees and turn into an olive mill and turn into like a tourist trap for the next 15 or 20 years. When the building gets run down, we lose, maybe momentum in the brand or whatever. We'll then get rid of it, build on 640 acres.
Right.
Is what they have.
It's a full section.
It's a full section.
Anne Garant, if you guys are familiar with her, she is a pro tennis player. They made a movie about her and her partner. Steve Carell was in it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Anyways, so Anne Garant, she's a local tennis star, and she like won Wimbledon or something like that. I don't remember what it was. Don't Google it, and I'm wrong. Whatever the tournament is. So she did the exact same thing. She bought a full section of land off the 10, and it just so happened that that's where they put the 303.
Did she know?
She had no idea.
She had no idea.
She had no clue. She was making money playing tennis. Like legitimately just making money playing tennis. They had all this extra funds from her sports career. And so her husband had the idea of buying this a section of land that hugged the 10 that was a good ways away from
she might have known somebody in the planning
Phoenix
zone.
Metro.
Probably.
And a little under a decade later, 303 happens. That's it.
Awesome.
That's it.
She probably made $303 million.
They made all the money. They made all the money.
Awesome. Watching and making cold calls. There you go, Jonathan. Love it.
Got a deal under contract in Portland, Tennessee. 35 minutes from Nashville, trying to find a flipper for a rehab-ready 2-bed, 1-bath. Where do I find a cash buyer? Brent Daniels, where would you go to find a TTP buyer? Maybe.
Well, this is what I was approaching. First of all, thank you for posting it on here, guys. If you have any buyers in that area, squad up and reach out to Xavier here. And then also, listen, there's a couple different ways to go about this, right? You got to go and see what flips are going on in that area. Anybody that has a listed flip, you need to call that listing agent and have a conversation and say, listen, you did an unbelievable remodel on 1212 Banana Street here. I wanted to see if you wanted to buy 1215 Banana Street, and it's an unbelievable off-market deal. Is that something you'd be interested in? And you make those calls, and you make those calls, and you make those calls, and you make those calls. You go and you see if there's any real estate investing groups in that area on Facebook, and you reach out to the admin of those groups. If they're assholes, then just get rid of them, go to the next one, but try to reach out to the admin, because usually those people are connected pretty well with a lot of the other people in that group, and just send them a DM and see if they're interested in that. You can also go on LinkedIn and see if there's any investor, developer, real estate, fix and flipper, whatever you want to, whatever tag words you want to put into LinkedIn to look for that. Find those people on LinkedIn, call them up or send them a message. Just don't stop. If you've got a phenomenal deal, it shouldn't be hard to sell it.
Also, if you go into my Instagram, there's a follower, student of mine, Paul Nelson, Creative Abundance is his IG tag. Go check him out. He can help you. We also had another Astro student here that just said that they could help you. There is a ton of people. This is what this is about, guys. Squad up in the comments.
Rodney says, Pace, please give us homework assignment to maximize value of your upcoming 2-hour training. All right. So there are so many different ways to make money in real estate, guys. So many different ways. I mean, you saw the transformation challenge. I got a lot of my students talking about how amazing and impactful the transformation challenge was. Don't leave me hanging. Oh, I thought you were, he was getting up. I thought you were saying, hey, bye. I'm so sorry. That's my fault. So the transformation challenge was absolutely epic. And I saw a lot of people doing deals and talking about it. Still yesterday, Sunday on my Q&A, I had a handful of students saying, oh my gosh, the transformation challenge was, funny enough, transformational.
Ooh.
So there's so many ways to make money in real estate. The way my wife makes money in real estate is my wife makes probably $300,000 to $500,000 a year. How does she do that?
As an agent?
No, I pay her shit as an agent.
Okay.
I pay my wife $1,350 for a listing.
Per deal.
I'm surprised my wife
You have
still.
a patient wife.
Yeah, but here's where she makes her money.
Yeah.
I'm her cash buyer.
Right.
My wife goes out and finds deals from other wholesalers, and she brings those deals to me. And instead of my wife asking for an assignment fee up front, my wife says, I want 20% of the back end.
Got it.
So the deal on Diamond Street, I was just talking about how much are we making? How much we were supposed to make? Do you remember the number? $71,000. Okay. Where did I find that deal? Do you know where I found that deal?
Keegley.
I didn't find it from Keegley. My wife worked with somebody at Keegley. She commits to the deal. She brings it to me. She treats me as her cash buyer. We buy the deal. We flip the deal. We're making $120,000. My wife will make $24,000 on a flip that we probably would have paid a $10,000 assignment fee for.
Actually, I remember the deal. It was the one that Ronald sent over.
Yeah, right? It was one of the ones. I mean, she has 3 deals that Ronald sold us right now that my wife will make a total of probably close to $50,000.
Awesome.
My wife works less. She works a lot. She's a mother. She's a wife. She has just given birth to a baby 3 weeks ago today. So she's unbelievable. Stays up all night long. My wife works all the time. However, when she's finding deals for our real estate business, she works less than 2 hours a week, and she can find us a deal every time she dedicates 2 hours, she'll find us a deal, bring it to me as a cash buyer, and I will pay her 20% of the net of the fix and flip. So guys, the way that works, it's very simple. Go find 10 cash buyers and go find a Keegley franchise, be the middleman between the two people, ask for the way my wife structured is she's like, I don't want to get paid. I just want my husband to make money. I'm like, you need to have your own money. You need to feel and see money coming into your account. So very simple way of making money, guys. It's not that freaking hard. It's not that hard. Go find a Keegley franchise, grab a deal of theirs, bring it over to a cash buyer. Cash buyers do not have time to find deals. I'm telling you, cash buyers do not have time to find deals. They need you to bring them to them.
You are curating opportunities.
Right.
Yes, it is micro flipping basically.
Yeah, it is. But
can we get we got somebody that needs some serious help here, a TTPer here. James, where is he? He's got a double escrow. He's got a double close going on. And the seller has just decided 2 weeks before closing that she wants to do an appraisal and renegotiate the price.
She doesn't have the ability to renegotiate. She can have as many appraisals as she wants.
Yep.
But that's not going to affect price. And she's already committed to selling at a specific price. And the deal is inked.
Is that a real buyer, or is that a game that a wholesaler is playing? Do you know what I'm saying?
The seller wants to get an appraisal because
the seller wants to get an appraisal.
Wants to get an appraisal to renegotiate the price based on the appraisal and won't close unless they get a appraisal.
I know I've been talking a lot today, and I apologize, but I would like to answer this one.
Yeah, please do.
I have been in multiple litigations. In fact, I'm currently putting a multifamily fund together, and my attorney, Mauricio, is writing a PPM for me, a private placement memorandum. And in that, they ask, have you ever been part of a lawsuit? I'm like, oh, have I been part of a lawsuit? I have been in multiple lawsuits with sellers who I buy a deal so deep, they come back and they go, another wholesaler's offering me $5,000,
Sure.
$10,000, $20,000 more. I go, I'm sorry. We're in a contract. I've already committed funds. I'm moving forward with the purchase. Seller goes, all right, I'm just going to ghost you because I think that's how I'm going to solve this problem. I'm just not going to reply to you or whatever. So what do? I file not only memorandum, but I immediately file a lis pendens, which is Spanish.
Latin.
It's Latin. It's Spanish for a pending lawsuit.
Right.
It is Latin, guys. So it means I have a pending lawsuit. And what I do is I sue the seller for specific performance. And what does specific performance mean? It means that property was going to bring me a specific amount of money. I can dollar it out and I can go to a judge and say, I was planning on making this much money and I have won every single time. We have been in over a dozen of these.
Mm-hmm.
You have full right as the buyer. Your seller has no right to cancel that contract unless you have breached contract. So what I would do, I have one of them going on right now. Okay. I have one going on in Utah right now. I was buying the house on seller finance. The seller, Wendy, shout out Wendy. If you're watching this podcast, you are going to lose this lawsuit. 100%. She's losing this lawsuit. This is what happened. She decides, wow, Pace negotiated a phenomenal deal on seller finance. I can make more money on the retail market. I'm an agent. I'm just going to go list my property. She tells the title company this, which is great. Thank you so much for telling the title company. And she tries to cancel on me. What do? I'm a big boy. I go hire a Utah attorney and we file a lawsuit against her. It cost me $1,100 and I'm protecting my butt by saying, I'm not letting you get out of this contract. Guys, the seller has no legal right, like just Jamil said, to come back and renegotiate with you as long as you are abiding by the terms of your contract.
What about his buyer? He's concerned that his cash buyer is going to sue him for specific
that could definitely happen.
It would then revert back to the original seller. So he doesn't really have anything to worry about with his cash buyer.
Would you have an attorney reach out to this seller?
1,000%.
Already, I would have already had a 100%.
In fact, you filed the list pendants based off of an anticipatory breach.
Yes,
they don't file the list pendants based off of a breach. They file it based off of an anticipatory breach, which is I'm anticipating based off of communication between us that you're going to breach the contract.
How do you find the fine line between, wait, I might be able to salvage this and just kind of, let them understand the process. Maybe they're confused on the process. The seller, they might think that these contracts are just open, right? They don't have probably an agent involved here. They think that it's something that you could just back out until the day it closes.
I think it's just
there's some education that needs to happen.
Yeah,
on their team. Yep. If not, boom, attorney.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Be on their team until they expressly tell you that we're not on your team.
Your buyer and you, I've been in a couple of deals with Jamil over the years where my seller was trying to mess around And I call my buyer, who was Jamil, and I go, hey, Jamil, I've got a seller acting a fool. This is going to take me 6 months to a year. I'll let you know when the deal comes back on the table.
We just stay in.
You stay in the deal. There's no reason, right? You and your buyer, instead of having any animosity, you should just call your buyer and tell him, this is what's going on. I'm going to get an attorney involved.
I'm spending the money to fight for you to get the deal.
Right. And by the way, that is an important note. When you go and litigate with a seller, here's the thing. I've gone into lawsuits.
You know what he did?
What?
He put it on the MLS.
Oh,
James, come on, man.
so you put the deal on the MLS,
and she found out about it, guaranteed.
Okay,
and he didn't have permission to.
It depends on if you need it in the state.
That's an interesting thing. What I would do is steal the best money you'll ever spend in your life is getting an attorney that you can get on a phone call with every time you run into a situation like this. Every state's different. You're going to run into situations, and it's really nice to be able to get on a phone call.
They have the right disclosures. All right.
Okay, then you're fine. You're fine. Jamil, if I get a house under contract and I have permission, I can throw it on the MLS and sell it, correct?
You can. 100% you can. But this kind of crap will happen.
You need an attorney.
This will happen is that they're going to see that you're listed it at a higher price than what you've contracted for, and they're going to try to blow the deal because people get greedy. It's just a reality of how some people behave.
Interesting stuff. So here's the thing, guys, use a good contract. Okay. Make sure you have a good contract. Make sure you actually put your earnest money into the deal. Even if it's $10, put your earnest money into a deal, because what'll happen is a smart lawyer on a seller's side will challenge whether you actually consummated the contract by putting in the earnest money. Okay. So put in the earnest money. The other thing is communicate with your buyer. If your buyer is saying, I'm upset, I was planning on buying the deal, you go, look, man, there's no reason for you and I to flex on each other. We're in this thing. I'm going to sell the deal to you. You're going to make more money because the market's going to appreciate while I figure this out. But I need to go and spread my wings on this and get the seller to move. Step one is this. Jamil is 100% right. You send a demand letter and you need to mention anticipatory breach. It costs $250. Okay. $250. You send a demand letter from your attorney. Okay, then he's money. Yeah. So you send an anticipatory breach letter that is demanding from your attorney's letterhead, not from you, not an email from you, not an email from your title company. Get your attorney involved immediately.
Can I give some advice on how to avoid this completely? This is an $82,000 profit for him. This is a big, massive deal. And he's double closing it, which is fantastic. That's excellent. If you have that big of a deal, and I'm telling this to everybody out there, not just James, everybody out there, you have a big deal. It's over 50,000, it's over 40,000, whatever it is. Close that deal as soon as possible yourself. You can go to anybody in any investor group around the country and say, I need to close on this. I will give whoever helps me close on this $3K, $5K, whatever it is. And then I'm going to resell this property. Here's everything that's going on here. I just need to get this closed. If you don't already have the financial backing, or if you don't have enough to get 20% to get or 10% or 100%, hard money goes 100% now. Yeah. You could go to a hard money lender and get 100%. I would not tell anybody about that deal until I owned it.
Yeah.
It's for real. Because I've been burned too many times putting properties out there, and then all of a sudden I have to take a huge hit, or I have to start, a lawsuit. You know what I mean? You have to start something with the attorney to get things, very clear with the seller. So if you can, and you can, just do this on any big deal, close it, close the deal. Get it done, own it, then put it out to people.
This is an interesting one.
It just saves a lot of heartache.
Jamil, can you answer this one? You got a lot of people in Illinois. I got a lot of people in Illinois. They are wholesaling. So how are they doing it?
They're double closing.
Okay, they're double closing.
Clark Jones asked, I want to get into wholesaling, but I live in Illinois. Any ideas on how I can wholesale here with all of the regulations? I appreciate any advice you can give, and thank you. Clark, thank you for being a viewer. Clark, this is the way I would accomplish that. You can double close in Illinois as many times as you want. You can only do one assignment though. So be careful. Don't do an assignment. You can double close, but get licensed. It's like 9 days, bro. Takes you 9 days to get a license. Get licensed, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't got to think about it anymore. Easy peasy, and now you're the guy, right? You're the dude out there that has a license that everybody wants to work with. So that would be my advice. Until you get licensed, double close. You can find closing attorneys. And also, there's this great little market very close to Illinois called Gary, Indiana, that has zero regulations in it. It's probably one of my favorite markets right now in all of the United States. It's got some of the craziest appreciation. It's got some of the craziest cash flow that you can find. Go wholesale in Gary, Indiana.
Guys, here's what I would do. I would also look at migration patterns. Literally Google this. You'll see it on Redfin. You'll see it on Realtor.com. You'll see it on Zillow now. You can go look up migration patterns. We are humans, but we are animals. Animals migrate. Okay. People are moving from all over the country to new parts of the country, especially with the advent of technology. Gary, Indiana, Fayetteville, North Carolina is a place where tons of people are moving to right now. I'm buying heavy in Fayetteville. I just got a 50 unit under contract today. And people are like, why are you buying in Fayetteville? That town sucks. And I'm like, because a lot of people are moving there. Amazon just they're creating 2,000 jobs with the average salary of $85,000 a year. That's why I'm investing, because that's long-term stuff, right? Jamil, what the hell is comping, and why do we call it comping?
That's when you eat. It's the sound that gets made when you chew.
No, that's chomping.
Oh, okay. Comping. Right. Got it. Comping. What's comping? Understood. Comping is the practice of comparing a property to another property to determine its value. You see, real estate is considered, you can only find the value of real estate based off of precedent. Just like in case law for attorneys, they will say, hey, what's the sentence for this crime? A judge will look at other sentences that were just like that crime and say, well, in this case, he hit the person over the head with a beer bottle and he got 2 years. Because of that, he's going to get 2 years. They use precedents. The same thing in real estate. They use precedent. They use other sales, comparable sales. Now, the reason why it's important that they be the same or very close to the same, because that's how appraisers determine value. So they're going to look at what nearby this subject property that we're trying to value has sold that is similar to this house, similar in construction style, similar in bed bath count, similar in condition, similar in location, similar in lot size, similar in proximity to traffic, proximity to multifamily, proximity to schools. And they take all of those factors and they compute what's called a value. And for us as wholesalers, what we're trying to do, we comp so that we can figure out how much a property could be worth once it's fixed. Because remember, in the game of wholesale, what we're trying to accomplish, what we're trying to get under contract are those cruddy houses, those houses that are in need of physical repairs, those houses that are distressed condition, original condition. That's the kind of deal that we're looking for.
I got a good analogy here.
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys all know that you are all hella good at comping? Okay. Everybody in this audience is really, really good at comping as it pertains to going on Amazon.com. Okay. If you go to Amazon.com and you look for bed sheets, for example, you know what you guys all do? You go through all the bed sheets, you look on the screen, you compare the thread count, the price, what day they're being delivered. Do they include pillowcases? Do they include a bed skirt? What color do they come in? Do they have a pattern? Guys, you are all comparing or comping your bed sheets. Let's look at these 3 black shirts. I can tell you that we can comp these 3 black shirts. Okay. I know that Brent Daniels t-shirt probably cost him, because he prints 1,000 of them.
Priceless.
Okay. They are priceless. You sound like a homeowner. You maybe sound like a shirt owner right now. Okay. How much?
I don't know what bulk
let's
price,
say
maybe
20
bucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say 20 bucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Guess what? My shirt brand is the same brand as Brent's. Okay. Same thread count, same everything, same sizing, same everything, with a logo on these. These are $20 shirts.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
Jamil's shirt is way more expensive. And you want to know why I know? It's because he's got triple thread.
Dang.
It's stretchy. They're super nice. Guys, I'm comparing. His shirt probably cost him $40 for that t-shirt. Okay. It goes the same thing with houses. just because it's a black t-shirt doesn't mean it's the exact same thing. So when you're looking at housing, you need to count all of the things. Jamil has appraisal rules or rules that come with comping. I need to make sure the thread count's the same. The delivery date is the same. I get all the sheets included. I get it's a king size or a queen size. Man, I bought this wrong. Well, yeah, dude, because you bought a twin sheet set when you were really trying to buy a king sheet set. Okay. Just because you got a package of sheets doesn't mean you got a good deal. You need to comp the prices and all the deliverables with that. So with housing, it's the same thing. I really only should be comparing Brent's shirt to my shirt because it's the same manufacturer, which is the same builder or the same year built. If I start comparing a luxury home to a freaking mobile home, I'm going to have some problems, guys.
Yep.
It is the same damn thing. So when you guys are sitting here with houses and overcomplicating, watch Straight Outta Compin' with Jamil. He sits there and just freaking comps things as easily as you can compare one black shirt to another black shirt.
Comping gives you an idea of what a buyer is going to pay for this property, whether it be an
1000%.
as-is condition and or fixed up.
Yes.
It's where it's the number we use to work backward to know what we can offer that property owner.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Yep. Awesome. And if you want more help with that, Edwin, it looks like you have a lot of great questions, brother. Join me Wednesday, 10 o'clock on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel. Join Jamil on Sundays on the Jamil's YouTube channel. That's at 3.
On
Your
Twitter
comping?
it's at 5 p.m. MST. Sorry,
There you
guys,
go.
for yesterday's snafu. Emily was in Indiana.
And Pace, your Sunday service.
Every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on Brent Daniels YouTube channel. Guys, come
That's
and
it.
check me out.
That's it.
It is the greatest live. Okay. It is so freaking good. Your lives, Brent, are so damn good.
Thank you.
My team is constantly looking at your YouTube as the example. You guys do the best job.
Well, it's thanks to these guys over here. So,
Guys,
thank you, Aaron,
phenomenal.
and Matt, phenomenal. Alejandra, obviously, Rafael Cortez. We're
I-
all there. Join us Wednesday.
I'd also
Sorry.
like to just mention I learned a stat today that about Wholesale Hotline as a podcast.
Yes.
When I got in today.
Now we're
Did
talking.
you know that Wholesale Hotline is in the top 1% of all podcasts?
Wait,
That's
what?
right. Yep.
What comps did you use to come up with that?
I used other podcasts
Yeah.
that were like ours. Actually, not even like ours.
You guys,
other
Wholesale-
podcasts.
Wholesale Hotline on wherever you listen to your podcasts. It's not just this show. It's obviously this 90 minutes every single week, but it's also individual shows from myself, Pace, and Jamil every single week. Definitely check it out. And if you're getting value out of it, we would love a review and a written review and the rate. That would be amazing. That would really, really help us out.
I want to answer
That's all
this
we
one.
ask.
I want to answer this one. Grant Hilliard says, what are the good questions to ask a seller if they were interested in an offer and actually motivated to sell? Go to talktopeople.com.
Yeah.
It is legit. Not only does Brent have the best YouTube channel, I would say you and Jerry Norton have the greatest YouTube channels, but you have the best website.
Thank you. Yeah.
Talktopeople.com is the shit. It's the truth. You guys do good stuff.
Yep.
And you deserve a raise. And I'm demanding it right now in front of Brent Daniels.
Yeah, they got a raise. I didn't even know.
Okay, you got a raise. He didn't even know. It is amazing because can I find scripts on there, Brent?
Absolutely. You can listen, TTP Insider, or you can go to talktopeople.com, but TTP Insider brings you right to it. A ton of resources, tools, scripts, but really to answer your question, to put it simply, every time that you are having a conversation with a distressed property owner, you're looking for 4 things. What's the condition of the property? What's their timeline to sell that property? What's their motivation or their problem? Same thing. And what's the price? That is the skeleton of the conversation that you have. So you find out those 4 things and you understand if this is somebody that has the potential to do business with you and it's going to be a great deal. So don't overcomplicate. And I put it in that order. If you ask about the condition of the property first, it opens up the conversation. It lets it blossom a little bit. It's not about them personally and what they're going through. It's about the property. And they're gonna talk to you about the property a lot easier than they will talk about their situation. Sometimes it just depends on who you're talking to. But condition, timeline, motivation, price. Condition, timeline, motivation, price.
Brent, I see Nina Granberry there saying, I agree 100%. Thank you for agreeing with me. That makes me feel very special. But she also says, I completed the TTP Insider. What the hell is the...
Yeah.
I remember when this thing came out.
Yeah.
Is it still available?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it?
I'm telling you, every week we add to TTP Insider's toolbox. So everything's in there that you could possibly need to get started. We just put out a get your first deal course in there for free. Knock it out. Check it out.
Ooh, okay. Cost per deal on cold calling on average. If you have a VA, the cost per contract, depending on part of the country you're in, you're $1,500 to $4,000, depending on the part of the country you're in. Okay. I can get a deal with a virtual assistant in North Dakota for probably $400. Okay. I'm going to lock up deals because there's not a lot of competition. In fact, I did a podcast yesterday with Jake McKinney out of Lubbock, Texas. And he's like, I'm an hour north of Lubbock, Texas, in an area that you would have to Google to even know where it exists. He goes, I can get a contract every single day. It's lay down after lay down after lay down. So depending on the market you're in, you're going to be $1,500 to $4,000 maximum if you have a virtual assistant. Brent, if I'm cold calling myself,
$15. No, it just depends. I mean, really, the only cost there is data. Right, you could literally hand dial like Jatarin in TTP here. She always is watching Wholesale Hotline and really taking all of it and implementing it. But she is in Lansing, Michigan, and absolutely crushes it. And did hand dialing with a budget of a few $100s to get all the the phone numbers up. And the data, the right phone numbers are absolutely critical. And if you're hand dialing and you have phone numbers, what's your cost? It costs 12 to 14 cents an address. So you get 1,000 addresses. You're talking $120, $140 plus your cell phone bill. Just depends, eh? I say eh because that's
Jamil. This one's a good one for you, brother.
Jemiah Allen says, I have a question. Is it worth it to tell a seller that I will pay the agent commission when submitting my offer? Would it make the offer stronger? So Jemiah, great question. First thing I want to find out is, why are you talking to a seller if an agent is involved? If an agent is involved, you shouldn't be in communication with the seller, because an agent is just that, right? They're the fiduciary. They're the representative of the seller. Now, they might even be the representative of you. They might be representing Jemiah in a transaction, but they can still have conversations with the seller. And so that's their job. If you're paying them, it's still their job to hand over the contract and deliver the documents and do the things that are required to get the deal done. So, Jemiah, I would first ask you that. Secondly, it is a great tool, and I'll tell you when we use this. So you guys know that I have many agent relationships, and the way that a lot of them work is they will call canceled and expired listings.
Right.
And these are listings that a seller sat on the MLS for, longer than their listing agreement, and they went stale because they were overpriced. And it's usually because they were misinformed by their listing agent of how much the property was worth. So what my realtors will do, who call expireds and cancels, is they'll say, hey, I have a buyer who will pay cash, who will pay my commission. Are you interested in seeing that? That's it. And so what they do is they approach the seller as, hey, I'm not representing you. I'm not calling you to get the listing. I have nothing to do with wanting to sell your house on the MLS again. What I want to do is I want to bring you an offer today where my buyer will pay the commission. Will you look at that today? That's it. And you know what? They do.
Well, listen, especially with canceled listings specifically,
1,000%
expired. They went the full length of the listing agreement, but canceled. Sometimes they cancel because they didn't realize how many people were coming through the house.
Right.
Sometimes they cancel because they didn't realize it was going to be on the internet. People cancel listings. Maybe they just didn't like the agent, so they cancel. They still want to get a good deal. That's a good one to go after for everybody on here. Is those canceled? The agents hit them hard.
I pulled a list last night on Sunday service. I pulled a list in North Carolina for foreclosures and absentee owners. Okay. And as I was pulling up batch leads to pull that list, I saw expired listings. 35,000 expired listings just in the last 12 months. A lot of people dissatisfied with their real estate agents, etc. Jamil, here's another great one for you. Kirk Hortel, shout out Kirk. I've been talking to him about waterfall trusts. This guy's very, very intelligent. I think he's giving us a good question because he sees some of these other people asking what double closes are. Kirk knows what a double close is, but we do appreciate the question, Kirk. Good layup for Jamil to crush this question.
Thank you, Kirk. I appreciate the question, and thank you for viewing Wholesale Hotline. But a double close is essentially 2 escrows. It's 2 closings, just like it says, double closes, right? So essentially what ends up happening is 2 escrows, 2 files are opened up. One of the files is where you are purchasing the property from a homeowner. And then the second file is where you are selling that property to your buyer. And they're 2 completely separate files. So they have no correlation to each other unless you do a pass-through close where they'll use the funds from your BC. So when you're selling to your buyer, they will use the funds from that escrow to fund the first escrow. And typically, title companies and closing attorneys across the nation will do it, but they have to be fairly astute and investor-friendly in order to accomplish that. If you're looking for title companies, a great place to find a title company is in the chat. So if you're in a city right now and you're wondering, where do I find a title company that'll do investor deals, double closes, ask people in the chat. That's the best place to find it. Other investors who are doing business in your local area.
There's also a really detailed, I've got a whiteboard breakdown of that as well on the YouTube channel. Do you have one on that? Have you done a video on your YouTube channel?
Yes.
Check out the YouTube channels. Just type in double close Jamil, double close Brent.
All right. So can you guys pull up this part on Wholesale Hotline screen, this little batch leads thing? I want to pull this up real quick. Show this to everybody. Everybody can see it? Okay, cool. Let's go down to the little quick filter down here. I just typed in North Carolina. I clicked search, so it pulled up all of North Carolina. And let's just pull up the little quick filter. How many expired listings are there?
85,000.
85,448 expired listings. Now, if we click on that and we change the date, okay, to maybe like the last couple of months, let's filter this just one more time. I would say, anyway, you guys get the point. We don't need to go through that. Yeah. Where do you see that, brother?
MLS status right there.
Where?
Right below you.
I'm not that smart. Oh, there it is. Got it. No. Do on market? No. Let's do not on market, and then let's do listing date in the last, let's say, last 3 months. Let's do last 3 months. And let's see what that looks like. And then apply over to the lower right. We're trying to teach you how to wholesale, bro. Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
Matt, you're the shit.
5,000. 5,092.
Okay, so in the upper right-hand corner, right there, 5,092 expired listings. Okay, guys, if you don't believe that there's opportunities around every corner, in one state, the last 3 months have proved to have 5,092 unhappy sellers who are not happy with their agents. So Jamil, I know you just did the transformation challenge. What would I do if I see one of those sellers, I see a list like that? Do I reach out to those people or do I reach out to the agents? What would you suggest with deals that have been recently on market?
So if the deal is already canceled and you have the property owner's phone number, it's a great way for you. It's a great idea for you to approach them directly. I don't have the time for that. So I have real estate agents whose job it is to do that for me. And then I cut them in on my deal, right? Because I'm not going to spend the time to make those calls. Here's what I
would say Jamil does incredibly well. There's 2 ways to go about that list. You could either call the sellers, which I would do because I'm addicted to it. I like catching the fish. Okay, so think about this. Doing a deal is like catching a fish or buying a fish. If I want to catch a fish, that's me going to the seller directly, right? I'm going to go down to the riverbank. I'm going to throw my lure in there. I'm going to try and catch a fish. But some people just want to buy a deal. So you know what they do? They go to the fish market. Okay, this is the fish market right here. Jamil comes to guys like me, guys like Brent Daniels, and says, can I just take your fish? I'm going to go sell those to the buyers of fish. Okay. 2 different ways of doing business. Guess what? We all making money. We talking money, honey. Jamil said that on the TV show the other day, and I about lost it. So the other way you can go about doing this is if you are smart and you want to do agent outreach, you can always call those agents who had listings expired and say, hey, I saw that you had a listing that was expired for whatever reason, doesn't matter to me. But I want you to know that in the future, make sure you bring these types of opportunities to me because I can give you an all cash offer. Make sure you get your commissions paid. Don't let these listings go expired. Bring those opportunities to me and start building relationships. 2 different ways, guaranteed you're going to get deals.
Edwin, listen, put that up real quick. Edwin Ortega, listen to me. You've asked this question about 1,000 times, and I'm going to answer it for you, bud. Listen, a notary is only needed at the closing, bud. Okay, these are the wrong questions to ask. You don't have to put this up yet, Matt. You can just put it on us. Thank you. While I'm giving my rant here. Listen, focus on having quality conversations with distressed property owners. For real. If you're just getting into this because you asked about earnest, you asked about comps, and you asked about the notary here, just find an ugly house. Get the owner's contact information and call them up and ask them if they would consider an offer. Okay, all of these little things that you're wondering about and all these terminologies will all play out in your transaction. This is to everybody out there that's just getting into this. And I know that people are getting excited and coming into this for the first time. But I'm telling you, you're pointed in the wrong direction. I want to point you in the right direction. Ugly houses, big checks. Find ugly houses and you will get big checks. Have a quality conversation with the owner of that property or somebody that represents the owner of that property, and you will win. All of those other things is a Google search or whatever else. The real question you need to ask is, how do I get in front of more distressed property owners? It's lead generation, conversion of those leads into a contract, and then exit strategy. Either you sell that deal, you assign that deal, or you keep that deal. That's it. That's it. You flip it, you buy it and hold it yourself, or you assign it. That's your 3 exit strategies.
My first deal started with me doing one thing, talking to people.
Right.
That was the first deal I ever did. You know what? I didn't know what an assignment contract was. I didn't know how to value anything. I didn't know what a notary was at all. No. I don't believe. Maybe I did, but I wasn't quite sure. It didn't matter. I called Jamil. Okay. I TTP'd. I got a lead. Mm-hmm. I go to the house on the way to the appointment. I text Jamil. I go, so I'm going to this house. I don't know what to offer this person. I don't know what a good number is. And Jamil just straight up told me. Then when I got the house under contract, long story, different story. You guys know the Finding Bunny story. I go, so what do we do now? Jamil goes, we do an assignment contract. I go, great. What do we do now? We open escrow. What's that? Literally, guys, everything Brent is telling you is 1,000%. Start with talking to more people.
And just to answer your question, Edwin, it is at the closing. You need a notary to transfer the deed and to sign a bunch of stuff for the title company or closing attorney, which doesn't matter until you get to that point. So I'm encouraging you. I don't want to come down negative here. I just want you to be pointed in the right direction. That is the point of me saying this, is find ugly houses and get big checks. All right. All the other stuff is handled by the title company and closing attorney. And right here, let's put this up one more time just to show everybody. There are over right there. This is the U.S. Census from 2020. There's 141 million properties, top left there. If you go down 5 steps, there's 11 million. Add 3 zeros to all these. There's over 11 million vacant properties that are vacant year round. It's 7.9%. When we say 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress at all times, it is in distress at all times. There are far more opportunities than there are us going after it. You've got this. Go out there, make an impact, and go have a quality conversation with the distressed property owner. Awesome. I think that's it, guys.
Yeah.
Show 106, not just the recipe, the entire cookbook on this show. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. Join us on our Wednesday and our Sunday shows.
Just Wednesday. Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool.
think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.